Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever found yourself in a dream and suddenly, you realize you're dreaming? Maybe you even started to change things around you. Or perhaps you've heard those really intriguing stories about people feeling like their consciousness actually left their physical body to explore other dimensions or something.
Yeah, those out-of-body experiences people talk about.
Exactly. So today we're taking a deep dive into these really captivating ideas. We're comparing lucid dreaming and astral projection.
Two things that often get mixed up.
They really do. And our mission, like always, is to take your sources, the articles, the research, our notes, and just distill the key insights, give you a shortcut, to being well-informed on these fascinating, sometimes confusing topics.
We'll look at what they are, how different views, spiritual, scientific, define them.
And even how you might try to experience them yourself.
What's truly fascinating, I think, is how these two phenomena, even though they're often conflated, actually show us different facets of human consciousness. We'll try to connect the dots for you, looking at them through, well, both ancient spiritual perspectives and modern science.
And for this deep dive, we've drawn from a real mix of sources.
Yeah.
Everything from, metaphysical texts and Eastern spiritual guides.
To scientific studies, sleep research, and practical how-to guides as well.
Yeah, it's a pretty holistic look, we think. Okay, before we go any further, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like the video if you haven't already. This is the Deep Seek Diaries, and you can find us on the big social media platforms, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. All the resources we're talking about today, the books, websites, all that stuff are linked down in the description section. Please do take a look at our terms and conditions when you get a chance.
Okay.
Now sit back and let's get into it. Let's start with the spiritual and metaphysical understandings. Because from that angle, they see these experiences as quite different things fundamentally.
Right. From a spiritual viewpoint, lucid dreaming, it's about becoming conscious within your own dream. That's the key.
Inside the dream itself.
Exactly. The dream world is seen as a projection of your mind, your subconscious. You get that moment of awareness, oh, I'm dreaming.
And then you can often start directing things.
Yeah, often you can control elements, change the scenery, interact consciously. It's seen as an internal experience happening entirely within your own psyche, sometimes called the dream plane.
Because it's your mind creating it. It's malleable, right?
Precisely. You can shape it.
Yeah.
Now, some traditions, like Tibetan dream yoga, use it for deep self-discovery, even spiritual practice. But the core idea is it's about inner insight, psychological development, not usually seen as, literally leaving your body.
Okay, so that's lucid dreaming internally focused. How does astral projection differ from that spiritual perspective?
Well, it's seen as something completely different. Astral projection is described as a genuine out-of-body experience, an OBE.
Out of body.
Yes. On a supposedly separate plane of existence. The idea held by traditions worldwide, ancient Egyptians, Greek mystics, Eastern yogis, is that consciousness, or maybe an astral body.
Like a subtle energy body?
Sort of, yeah. That it actually detaches from the physical body and travels in a non-physical dimension. The belief is you literally leave your body and enter the astral plane.
And this astral plane, it's not just in your head.
That's the crucial distinction, metaphysically speaking. It's often described as having layers, different vibrational levels tied to consciousness. But importantly, these realms are believed to exist independently of your mind.
So unlike a dream you create, you could potentially encounter things there that aren't from your own subconscious.
Exactly, that's the core belief. While in a lucid dream, you might conjure a person knowing it's your creation, astral travelers report encountering places, beings, guides, even other souls that they feel they didn't create.
Wow. So observing their own body from above.
That's a classic reported experience, yeah. Or visiting distant physical locations or mystical realms. And there's that famous hallmark, the silver cord.
Ah, yes, the connection back to the body.
Supposedly an energy tether connecting the astral form to the physical, ensuring you can always return. People like Sylvan Muldoon even reported veridical experiences seeing something during an OBE that was later confirmed physically. Believers see that as proof it's real, an objective journey.
Although you mentioned the line can blur sometimes.
It can. Some frameworks suggest a very deep lucid dream might transition into an OBE or vice versa. Consciousness is complex,
Okay, that sets the spiritual stage. But here's where it gets really interesting, right? Because mainstream science looks at all this very differently.
Completely different framework, yeah.
Lucid dreaming first. Science actually accepts this one, doesn't it?
It does. Lucid dreaming is a well-documented phenomenon in sleep research. It's recognized
How do they define it?
as a state during REM sleep where the dreamer becomes aware that they're dreaming. And sometimes, yes, they gain some control. It's been verified in labs.
Verified how?
Through objective measures. Dreamers signaling lucidity with prearranged eye movements that researchers can detect. Or distinct brainwave patterns on an EEG. People like Celia Green and Stephen LaBerge did pioneering work here.
So neuroscientifically, what's happening?
They see it as a kind of hybrid state of consciousness. Parts of the brain associated with self-awareness, like the prefrontal cortex, which are usually less active during REM sleep, seem to flicker back on.
So you get self-awareness during the dream.
Exactly. But the key scientific takeaway is nothing is leaving the body. It's an internal brain-mind event. A unique state of sleep consciousness, yes, but not paranormal.
Okay, clear distinction there. Now, astral projection. How does science view that?
Well, that's where the skepticism comes in. Deep skepticism, really. The scientific community generally doesn't accept it as a real phenomenon.
Why not? No evidence.
Essentially, yeah. There's no empirical, repeatable evidence that consciousness can separate from the body and travel. Many attempts have been made to verify it under controlled conditions.
Like trying to read hidden messages in another room.
Exactly that kind of thing. And consistently, these experiments haven't produced reliable, verifiable results. So conventional science tends to view reported OBEs, or astral travels, as subjective experiences.
Subjective, like hallucinations or vivid dreams.
Pretty much. Hallucinations, very vivid dreamlike states, maybe misinterpretations of bodily sensations. Not proof of a soul literally departing the body.
But those experiences feel so real to people. How does science account for that feeling of actually being outside the body?
That's a really important question. Psychologists and neuroscientists often point to a combination of factors. Lucid dreaming itself can feel incredibly real.
Right.
Then there's imagination, expectation, and a key phenomenon: sleep paralysis.
Ah, okay. Explain that connection.
Well, during REM sleep, your body is naturally paralyzed. It's called a REM atonia. Stops you acting out dreams. If you happen to wake up mentally before that paralysis wears off.
You're awake but can't move. That sounds terrifying.
It can be, yeah. And in that state, people often report feeling separated from their body, floating sensations, vibrations, even seeing themselves from above. It's almost like dreaming with your eyes open, or at least with partial waking awareness intruding on the dream state.
So those sensations could easily be interpreted as leaving the body, especially if you already believe in that possibility.
Precisely. Many researchers essentially see reported astral projections as a kind of lucid dream about leaving the body. The reported elements, vibrations, seeing a body double, instant travel just by thinking, are very similar to things that can happen in vivid lucid dreams or are known neurological illusions.
So scientifically, it boils down to what constitutes real.
Exactly. Lucid dreaming has solid scientific backing, objective markers. It's accepted as a real, measurable mental state. Astral projection lacks that objective proof and is often grouped with anecdotal paranormal claims.
So someone reports an astral journey.
A scientist would likely interpret that as an extraordinary lucid dream, maybe combined with sleep paralysis phenomena or an OBE-like hallucination. We know inducing lucidity can replicate OBE features.
And haven't there been experiments triggering OBE-like feelings?
Yes, using virtual reality or even direct brain stimulation. They can create illusions of being outside one's body by messing with how the brain integrates sensory information. This suggests the experience can be generated neurologically.
So scientifically, not a literal separation, but a compelling illusion or a type of dream.
A misperception of internal experiences as external reality, as some might put it. But it's crucial to add, even if science doesn't see it as literally real, the subjective experience can be incredibly profound and impactful for the person having it. And that itself keeps researchers interested in studying consciousness in these unusual states.
Right. So, okay, that's the theory, the different viewpoints. What about actually doing it? If you're curious, how might you try to experience these states?
Good question. Because the good news is, for both, there are practical steps, techniques developed over time, both from spiritual traditions and scientific research.
And patience is probably key, right? These aren't just things you switch on.
Definitely. They're generally considered skills that need practice.
Okay, let's pause for a moment here. I hope you're enjoying the topic so far. Just a reminder to please subscribe to the Deep Seek Diaries and like this video if you find this useful. You can also find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and now Twitter too. And again, all the resources, books, websites we mentioned are linked in the description for you. All right, so how to lucid dream? Where does someone start?
Well, the core idea is building self-awareness, both in waking life and within your dreams. Before even trying specific induction techniques, the foundation is good dream recall.
Makes sense. You need to remember dreams to know if you were lucid in them.
Exactly. So, step 1, improve dream recall with a journal. Keep it by your bed. First thing in the morning, just jot down everything you remember, even fragments.
Doesn't have to be perfect sentences.
Not at all. Just get it down. This trains your memory. And importantly, it helps you spot recurring themes or weird things in your dreams. Dream signs.
Like clocks behaving strangely or flying pigs, whatever.
Precisely. Things that, if you notice them while dreaming, could trigger lucidity. So recall is foundational.
Okay, step 1, journal. What's next?
Step 2, perform reality checks. This is crucial. Several times throughout your normal day, consciously stop and ask yourself, am I dreaming right now?
And actually check.
Yes. Do something that would have a different result in a dream. Try pushing your finger firmly into the palm of your other hand in a dream. It might pass through. Look at text, look away, look back in a dream. It often changes. Check a mirror. Reflections can be weird in dreams. Hold your nose and try to breathe. You often can in a dream.
The goal being to make this checking automatic.
Exactly. You want the habit to carry over into your dreams. When a reality check fails in a dream, like your finger goes through your palm boom, you realize you're dreaming.
Got it. Journaling, reality checks.
Yeah.
What else?
Step 3, set a lucid intention, often using the MILD technique. MILD stands for Mnemonic Induction of Lucid Dreams, developed by Dr. LaBerge.
How does that work?
As you're falling asleep or if you wake up in the night, you repeat a simple phrase, an affirmation like, next time I'm dreaming, I will realize I'm dreaming. And you visualize yourself becoming lucid in a recent dream you remember.
Using memory to trigger future awareness.
Pretty much. It taps into perspective memory, remembering to do something later.
Okay. Any other main techniques?
A popular one is step 4, wake back to bed, WBTB. This one leverages sleep cycles.
How so?
You set an alarm for about 4.5 to maybe 5 or 6 hours after going to sleep. Wake up fully, get out of bed for maybe 20, 30 minutes, keep lights dim, do something quiet, maybe read your dream journal.
And then?
Then you go back to sleep, focusing on your lucid intention, maybe using MILD. The idea is you're more likely to go directly into a longer period of REM sleep, where dreaming is most vivid, and your mind is primed for lucidity from the brief awakening.
Interesting. More chances for awareness in REM.
Right. And finally, there's a more advanced one. Step 5, wake-initiated lucid dream. Wild.
This sounds like directly entering a dream.
That's the goal. You maintain conscious awareness while your body falls asleep. It requires deep relaxation, focusing your mind maybe on your breath, or visual patterns behind your eyelids, the hypnagogic imagery.
Those swirling lights and sounds as you drift off.
Exactly. You stay aware through those sensations, maybe vibrations or floating feelings, and aim to step directly from wakefulness into a dream scene without losing consciousness. It takes practice.
Definitely sounds advanced. But those are the main paths. Patience and consistency seem key.
Absolutely. And once lucid, simple tricks like rubbing your dream hands together or focusing intently on dream details can help stabilize the experience so you don't wake up immediately.
Okay, that's a solid roadmap for lucid dreaming. Now, what about inducing astral projection or an OBE? Similar preparation.
Similar in needing deep relaxation and mental focus, yeah. The goal is often described as reaching that mind-awake, body-asleep state, the hypnagogic state, but with the intent to separate consciousness.
So step 1, prepare a conducive state.
Yeah.
Quiet place, minimal distractions, usually early morning or after a nap is recommended.
Right. Then use relaxation techniques, progressive muscle relaxation, deep breathing, meditation to get the body profoundly relaxed, almost asleep, while keeping the mind alert and focused, maybe just on the darkness or your breath.
And then what are you watching for?
Step 2, enter the vibrational stage. Many guides talk about this. As you get very deep, you might start to feel or hear things buzzing, intense vibrations throughout the body, a feeling of lightness or rocking, maybe rushing sounds.
That sounds like it could be alarming.
It can be, especially the first time. The advice is always to stay calm, don't fight it. In the OBE context, these vibrations are often interpreted as the astral body tuning up or loosening. You try to allow them, maybe even mentally encourage them.
Okay, so you reach these vibrations.
Yeah.
Then how do you actually leave?
That's step 3. Separation using an exit technique. Once the vibrations feel strong, you make a mental attempt to move your consciousness out. There are several classic methods.
Like what?
One famous one is the rope technique from Robert Bruce. You imagine a strong, invisible rope hanging above you, and you mentally reach out with your non-physical hands and start pulling yourself up the rope out of your physical body.
Purely mental action.
Purely mental, no physical movement. Another is the rollout method, mentally trying to roll sideways, like rolling out of bed but without moving physically. Or just visualizing yourself becoming lighter and floating upwards. Steady intent is key.
And if it works, what happens?
People often report a sudden pop or a shift in perspective, finding themselves outside their body. Then comes step 4, stabilize and explore.
How do you stabilize?
First, try to mentally move away from your physical body to reduce the pullback, then orient yourself. Affirming intent helps. I am awake in my astral body now. Focusing on details, like looking at your astral hands, can ground the experience.
Similar to stabilizing a lucid dream.
Very similar principle. Calmness is vital. Excitement can snap you back. Then, exploration. Thought is said to equal action. Think of floating, you float. Think of going through a wall.
Might just do it.
That's the idea. Explore your room first, then maybe further afield outside a friend's house or into those astral realms believers talk about.
And getting back, is that hard?
Usually described as very easy. Step 5, return to body. Simply think strongly of your physical body or have the clear intention to return. The silver cord supposedly pulls you back automatically.
Often with a jolt.
Yeah, sometimes a jolt or a feeling of merging back into the physical. And like lucid dreaming, writing it down immediately is highly recommended.
Are there safety concerns with trying this?
Generally, practitioners consider it safe. The main challenges are managing fear if sensations are intense, or dealing with potentially strange imagery. Affirming control, or simply intending to return usually works. And interestingly, becoming lucid in a dream is sometimes seen as a gateway you could potentially try to project from within the lucid dream state itself.
Fascinating stuff. Lots of practical steps there for people to explore if they're interested.
Absolutely.
So if people are captivated by all this and want to go on their own deep dive, you mentioned we drew from lots of books and resources.
Yes, there's a really rich body of literature out there offering all sorts of perspectives.
Let's maybe touch on a few key ones that our sources highlighted. For contemporary takes, especially on lucid dreaming with a scientific angle, Exploring the World of Lucid Dreaming by Stephen LaBerge and Howard Rheingold is sort of the Bible, isn't it?
It really is a classic. Practical techniques, scientific background, foundational. Then Robert Waggoner's Lucid Dreaming. Gateway to the Inner Self takes it more into self-discovery, healing, philosophical questions you can explore while lucid.
And for the astral projection side, practically speaking.
Robert Bruce's Astral Dynamics is often mentioned. Very comprehensive, detailed energy work. His famous rope technique is in there. Michael Raduga's The Phase offers a different, very pragmatic, almost non-mystical approach, grouping OBEs and lucid dreams together as accessing the phase.
Interesting. Any others bridging different traditions?
The Tibetan Yogas of Dream and Sleep by Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche is fantastic for understanding the deep spiritual context and practices from Tibetan Buddhism, dream yoga for enlightenment.
Wow, and personal accounts.
William Bullman's Adventures Beyond the Body is popular, shares his own OBE experiences, and lays out a 30-day plan people try.
Those cover the more modern stuff.
Yeah.
What about the older foundational works?
Definitely worth knowing. For Astral Projection, Projection of the Astral Body by Sylvan Muldoon and Hereward Carrington back from 1929 is seminal. Muldoon's experiences, the silver cord concept, really got traction there.
And Robert Moreau.
Huge influence. Journeys Out of the Body from 1971. He meticulously logged his spontaneous OBEs, developed terminology, even founded an institute to study consciousness based on his experiences.
And for early lucid dream work.
Celia Green's Lucid Dreams from 1968 was groundbreaking scientifically in the West, and Patricia Garfield's Creative Dreaming from 1974 brought lucid dreaming into the personal growth sphere, looking at cross-cultural practices too.
Any really deep spiritual perspectives?
Paramahansa Yogananda's Autobiography of a Yogi gives these incredible, detailed descriptions of the astral cosmos from an Eastern yogic viewpoint. And Oliver Fox, his real name was Hugh Calloway, wrote about his lucid dreams and OBEs early in the 20th century, compiled later in the Projection of the Astral Body. A real pioneer.
That's quite a range.
It really shows you, doesn't it? From ancient mystics to modern sleep labs, people have been intensely curious about these states for a long, long time. These books offer all those viewpoints: scientific, esoteric, practical, spiritual. It helps you get a much more rounded picture.
Encourages critical thinking, too, I suppose, seeing the same phenomena through totally different lenses.
Exactly. Invites you to question assumptions, consider multiple ways of understanding consciousness.
So we've really taken quite a journey today, haven't we? We've explored lucid dreaming, that scientifically recognized state of being aware within your own dream.
That internal exploration.
Right. And contrasted that with astral projection,
Mm-hmm.
the claimed, external voyage of consciousness potentially into other realms. We've looked at the spiritual takes, the scientific skepticism, even the how-tos.
It's a fascinating look at consciousness itself, really, where mystics and scientists often find themselves asking similar questions, even if their answers differ wildly.
So a final thought for people to maybe mull over.
Well, I think what's provocative is that both practices, whether you see them as purely psychological or potentially something more, invite us to expand our awareness in profound ways.
Mm-hmm.
One pulls you inward into the incredible creative depths of your own mind during dreams. The other, whether it's a literal journey or a powerful experiential metaphor, hints at potentially uncharted territories of existence beyond the physical.
So the question is,
The ultimate question for you to consider, maybe with an open but discerning mind, is where does that line between psyche and spirit, between internal creation and external reality, truly lie, if it lies anywhere definitively at all?
That's a great point to ponder. It really is a unique insight into the nature of consciousness. We hope this deep dive has given you a richer understanding and perhaps sparked some curiosity. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Deep Seek Diaries. Please don't forget to check out all those linked resources down in the description section.
Lots of good stuff there.
Definitely. And please hit the subscribe and like buttons as you head off if you haven't already. We really appreciate the support. Until the next episode, goodbye.